In our bodies, there are trillions of microbial cells having a large impact on our health. Scientists have only scratched the surface into the effects that gut bacteria have on our well-being. For the next week, I'm giving up my luxuries and I'm going to live with the sun in Namibia. We're going to see how my microbiome handles the change. There's a lot of flies on me.
We've finally realised that the microbiome and the metabolites that the bacteria produce have a major impact on our health.
When you trigger the immune system in the gut, you're triggering the immune system in the whole of the body.
The microbiome is a very complex organ and it has very wide-ranging impact on human health. It's not just Alzheimer's, it's depression, it's schizophrenia, it's ADHD.
It's like medicine come alive. We're starting to realise we just don't know about you know.
It's really amazing how...
When I turned 50, I started to gain weight. I got a very sore right hip, lower back pain, and I just wasn't doing very well health-wise. So I went on an elimination protocol. I lost all the weight, all my aches and pains disappeared, unbelievable clarity of mind, and I found that the biggest problem of all was weight.
Our wheat has changed dramatically, so much so that it doesn't even resemble what it used to.
We certainly have observed over time a steady increase in the rate of celiac disease and the rate of non-celiac gluten sensitivity. Why?
It's really interesting to see how many foods are now today being thought of as toxic or as not good for us. You know, for example, wheat. No one's thinking about maybe there's something in the wheat now that there didn't used to be there that's causing this problem.
Today they have methods where they start with the wheat and in 2 hours it's in the plastic bag as a loaf of bread.
The wheat that has been developed now was developed for commercial reasons, and of course it's laced with chemicals.
We gorged ourselves on its availability once we were able to figure out how to grow it limitlessly.
Wheat is in everything. It's in everything.
Consumer, be aware. Do not believe everything we're told.
Multiple sclerosis, vitiligo, alopecia, thyroiditis. They always find a connection between that autoimmune disease and gluten.
If you don't think we're in a crisis, you're not watching, you're not looking, you're not talking to teachers, you're not listening to parents, because we have an extreme health crisis in our children today.
This is a very difficult time for those who are more concerned about the truth and about what's best for our health versus, you know, the powers that be that don't want people to know the truth about wheat.
Chemical fertilization leaves your foods and crops deficient in vital minerals, trace elements, micronutrients, because the soil is not getting those nutrients.
Glyphosate is the active ingredient in the pervasive herbicide Roundup, which is used in chemical agriculture extensively.
We are 10 times more bacteria than we are human cells. Therefore, glyphosate becomes a major issue for us to be real concerned about.
Every week there's something published that adds to our understanding of the importance of these microbes.
Imagine how many tens of millions of people are experiencing the same sort of issues and don't really know that it's as a result of food choices, but they assume that it's a natural artifact of getting older.
The story of wheat is the story of food. Become educated, become knowledgeable, become aware, start making changes step by step, habit by habit, and we may be able to create a tsunami of change that will change the health of our children and future generations.
You just can't continue to douse your food with neurotoxins and not expect it to show up in the human population.
Gluten is the new dietary enemy. More and more people are swearing off wheat and grains in pursuit of better health.
There's a lot of information on the internet, lots of books, lots of media out there saying how a gluten-free diet can make you healthy.
What we've really seen in the last few years is the rise of celebrity endorsements of the gluten-free diet.
Some experts say humans didn't evolve to digest gluten.
For the 2.5 million years of evolution, 99.9% our species been gluten-free.
There are claims the gluten-free diet cures a wide range of conditions like depression, arthritis, even autism. But this has some dietitians concerned.
People are going on gluten-free diets to lose weight or to increase their health, when in actual fact they're doing the opposite.
In this special investigation, I cut through the hype of the gluten-free diet. Should we all get on board, or is it just another fad?
People thought I was dying. I looked terrible.
My hair was falling out. I was always having terrible joint and bone pain.
You have irritable bowel, you're anxious, you're a type A personality.
The doctors thought I was bulimic.
I was diagnosed with MS.
I thought I had cancer.
One person actually said to me, "We think you have cancer, but we can't find it."
And I looked at them and I said, "I'm dying and no one's gonna find out what's wrong with me."
My diagnosis was one of those you read about in the horror celiac stories. It took a long time.
And it officially took 7 years to get the actual correct diagnosis.
I was just right about on the 11-year mark when I was diagnosed.
For me, it's a little bit different. I was sick from the time I was 3.
They were realizing that nothing was going away. The symptoms kept coming and persisting, and it kept getting worse, is when they thought that maybe it was more mental.
Sometimes I thought it was emotional, like, do I have depression? Am I manic?
I never really knew that something was wrong initially. I just had symptoms, like I'd get bloating, I'd have a problem with gas.
You can hear my stomach from across the room a lot.
In the process of being diagnosed, I was hospitalized twice.
I was hospitalized quite a bit throughout my teenage years. Multiple times I was on my way to the operating room.
But I did get a letter in the mail on like a Friday afternoon, I remember, which is sort of a bad way to get this kind of news, that said I had celiac disease.
We did blood work and it showed possibly that it was celiac disease, and at that point I'd never heard of celiac disease before.
So let's test you for celiac disease and we'll test you for a couple other things. I said, you know, it's really kind of a waste because I haven't had it for 30 some odd years. It's not like I'm going to develop it now. And he goes, humor me. And then I got a phone call back a week later and said, you're off the charts.
And my neurologist sat down and he said, you know, how did you get this diagnosis? And I told him.
So just getting that answer and knowing what was wrong with you was a lot. And all the crazy symptoms I thought I was having, it all fit. It all fit and it all made sense.
I was kind of happy because, number one, I knew I didn't have cancer, but number two, I knew it was something that was treatable, and that's one of the nice things about it. I tell people all the time, you know, if the worst thing that happens to me is I'm diagnosed with celiac disease, I feel pretty lucky because the treatment is just changing your diet a little bit.
It's the hardest thing to diagnose with the simplest cure. Just don't eat that. It's serious long term. It's a manageable day-to-day thing, but if you're not diagnosed and you're still sick and you're not getting it fixed, you can really, really hurt yourself.
And he looked at me and he said, I don't think you have MS. I think you have celiac disease. I don't think you have MS. And which was not at all what I was expecting, which was like the best gift I ever could have gotten. And to me that meant, okay, it's an adjustment in diet, but I will probably not be in a wheelchair at my son's high school graduation.
I was very sick for 6 years. I kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. I had migraine headaches and my hair was starting to fall out. My teeth started to break and I had the stomach distress. I was tired. I had a full-term stillbirth. 3 miscarriages, and a 2-pound baby. And I lost 25 pounds. And, I was getting diagnosed with anything from postpartum depression to, are you anorexic? It was always the symptom that was being treated. And until finally, after seeing 23 doctors, and I kid you not, I counted them, I went back through my medical records, 23 doctors later, the family veterinarian was the one who came up with the diagnosis, saying, sometimes animals have trouble digesting grains. Maybe why you have all these unrelated symptoms is that maybe you can't eat some kind of grain. I think it's called celiac disease, and it has something to do with wheat.
Wheat contains a protein called gluten, which can be harmful to some human beings. For people who suffer because of gluten, the best resolution is to live your life gluten-free.